What does it mean to have spiritual courage? Maybe you've heard that term before or something like it, to have spiritual courage, to be courageous, but in those spiritual matters of life. What does it mean to have spiritual courage? This is the Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. My name is Jeremy Stalnecker. And it is one thing to have physical courage. There are a lot of people that do have physical courage. We look at athletes who do things that are absolutely insane to the rest of us, but they step out and courageously do the thing. We can look at other people in other venues that do physically courageous things. Maybe they stand up for people that they care about. Maybe it's something courageous that happens on the battlefield. There is courage. We admire that type of courage, and certainly we should. Courage is taking a bold step when there is not a certain outcome. The lack of a certain outcome is really what makes something courageous. If you know how it's going to end, it's not very courageous, but you do it not knowing how it's going to end exactly, hoping for the best, but knowing that it could be the worst, and yet you do it anyhow. You have courage. But what does it mean to be spiritually courageous? We come to the book of Philippians, wonderful book in the Bible. And in Philippians, we know that Paul is writing a letter to the churches at Philippi. That's why it's the letter to the Philippians. He's writing a letter as he sits in a jail cell awaiting a trial, and eventually he would be executed. He knows this is happening, doesn't know what the timeline looks like, doesn't know if he'll be released and brought back and how all of that will play out, doesn't have any idea. But as he is going through this extreme difficulty that might, he doesn't know, end in his death, he says this in Philippians chapter 1 and verse 20. He says, "According to my earnest expectation and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death." Verse 21, "For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain." What did Paul say here? He said, hey, I know things are difficult. I'm in a bad situation. I don't know how this is all going to turn out. But I refuse to be ashamed of the gospel. I refuse to be ashamed of my relationship with God and my understanding of Jesus. I refuse to be ashamed. In fact, I'm praying that with all boldness I would proclaim the truth. That's what it means to have spiritual courage. He discusses in these verses that this may be a bond that happens to end his life. There may be a physical consequence. He doesn't know. But what he's already determined is that even with an uncertain future, he will boldly proclaim Jesus. Why? Because he said, "For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain." If I am alive, if I'm breathing air, I want to do everything I can to tell others about him. That's spiritual courage. Spiritual courage is just being true to what you say you believe, and a relationship that hopefully is authentic between you and Almighty God because of what Jesus Christ did on the cross. Are you bold? Are you courageous? Not just in life, not just in business, but spiritually. Do you have spiritual courage? Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow for another Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. For more information about the Mighty Oaks Foundation and the work that we do for veterans, active duty service members, and first responders, please visit mightyoaksprograms.org.